Today's Tips du Jour mailbag question comes to us from Brazil. Robert, I am leaving very small scratches on the peg head of my guitar when buffing because I'm afraid I will damage this area with the buffing wheel. What do you recommend? Tiago in Brazil. Well, Tiago, thank you very much for your question. Not only is around the peg head a problem with the buffing wheel, but around the sound hole, around the sides of the fretboard, around the heel, all of those are potential areas where the friction and the heat build up, or even the buffing wheel just grabbing that area can damage it. Happened to a friend of mine once. Don't let it happen to you. Let me show you a couple things you can do to help prevent that from happening. So here's the guitar on my bench. I've leveled and buffed the finish, but I've left some very small scratches there in the peg head. I don't even know if you can even see those. But before you even get to this point, here's a couple things you can do. When you're wet sanding this area, use very little water. Keep your sandpaper almost dry. You could even just come in and use just dry sandpaper. When you go to your buffing wheel, go really light, really easy, and don't go all the way until there's no more scratches. There's still some swirl marks in here from my sandpaper. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use some polish that I got from LMI, and I'm going to put just a little bit on a cotton ball or a soft rag, and I'm going to buff this area by hand. So just a little bit of the polishing compound from LMI on here. I try and go with the grain so I don't put more swirl marks into it, although it's not necessary. You can go in circular motions if you want. Then I take another cotton ball or even just a soft rag and just buff off all the residue. So when done properly, you should have a very shiny finish with no scratches. And keep in mind, this method also works very well for other problem areas like around the rosette and around the fretboard where it meets the soundboard, around the neck. And there's a lot less risk of damaging the finish with that aggressive buffing wheel.